Hello guys, welcome to Scenario Based Hacking Part 1. Now I've already introduced scenario based hacking in Part 17 of the Metasploit Mega Primer. The whole idea is to concentrate on solving scenarios rather than looking at different tools and what they can do. So in scenario based hacking, our entire focus will be scenario-centric and not tool-centric. There's an approach to learning ethical, or we should like to call it unethical hacking. So let us take up the very first scenario, which of course has to be the simplest one. As we already mentioned, we'll slowly graduate to more difficult levels. So in scenario-based hacking part 1 or SPH1, the victim has no patches installed, no AV, there is no firewall, no NATing device in front, and the attacker has direct IP level access to the victim. So how does the lab setup look like? Well, I have a host machine in which there are two VMs. One is the attacker machine running Backtrack, and the other is the victim machine running Windows XP. And both of them are connected directly using the VirtualBox host only adapter. So what do? Well, typically as the attacker has IP layer access to the victim, first he would run a port scan and find all the open ports and services. H1 attacker diary. Well, this is what the attacker is going to do. First he would port scan the victim, find open ports and services. Once he does that, he's going to figure out what is the version of the services as well as figure out what the operating system is. Then he would try to find matching exploits, and as the victim is unpatched, one or more of these exploits would end up working, right? And depending on what he wants to use, he could actually use a remote bind_TCP metapreter payload. So let's look at a demo right now. Now here is our attacker machine running Backtrack, having an IP address 1.2. Here is our victim XP machine having an IP address 1.3. We are connected to the Backtrack instance through PuTTY. Now, how do we approach this problem? Well, we'll borrow something from the Metasploit Mega Primer, which is the integration of Nmap with Metasploit. So first, let's go ahead and actually create a database. Let's call it SPH1. Now that we are connected to the database, let's run db_nmap. And what we will do is we'll do service fingerprinting as well as OS fingerprinting, and we'll actually look at all the ports. Let's give it the victim IP address, which is 1.3, and let's allow it to run. So this may take a while. I'll just pause the recording till the output comes out. Okay, so we have the output here, and if you notice, Nmap has figured out the different ports, the services, and in some cases also the version. Right, and in a couple of cases, it's also figured out the version, like Apache version, and it's running on Windows, so on and so forth, right? So now something interesting has happened. Because we've used db_nmap, all of this information is with Metasploit already. We can hit db hosts to actually see that the host 1.3 is there in its database. We can hit db services to actually see the list of services which have been detected, along with information about the version, etc., etc. Now, if you remember the Metasploit Mega Primer series, one of the things which we had looked at was going ahead and using the autopon command. Right, db autopon, and then we had given it the -p, -e, and -t. Now in this case we could do the same, but what would happen is it would end up taking every exploit and trying it out. So what we'll do is here, we'll just target a couple of services and run exploits based on those services only. So let's find something interesting for ourselves. So MSRPC on port 135 seems to be interesting. Let's go ahead and use DB Autopon just to target that service. So for that we use the -pi along with 135, and then we just do the usual. So let's see what happens. This should launch only those exploits for port 135 on the victim. Okay, so it's launched. It just figured out one attack module, which was the DC RPC vulnerability, and if you notice, a Metapredator session has already opened. Just waiting for the module to finish execution, and then we'll have a beautiful little Metapredator for ourselves. Okay, I think it's almost done. Awesome. So now we connect to the Metapredator session, and basically after that we know that we are God on this machine. Right, so now we could practically do anything. Go through the Metasploit video tutorials for that, run a PS command, figure out running processes. As an example, let's kill command.exe. Right, so if you remember, we could practically do anything we want. Awesome, so I guess we are done for this demo. Let's go back to the slides. So this is end of scenario-based hacking part 1. This was the simplest case. In part 2, we would look at a scenario in which the machine is not patched, has no AV, but is behind a NAT. So it's going to get more interesting as we move along this video series. So please leave your comments behind and let me know any specific scenario you have in mind which you'd want me to solve in this series. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great day.